Let's get started.
We love you, Bryan.
We love you too. I was born in Los Angeles, in the crook of a mother with stretch marks and cigarette burns. When I was a child, my mother wore hoop earrings, and when she was home, she burned Marlboros and Camels, and tattooed the smell of cigarettes into my clothing and into her hair. When I was old enough, my mom would kick me out of the house, and I'd wander the streets looking for trouble. There was a corner store back then. You'd find men with their hoods up, quietly bumping to the music playing from the tiny speakers in the ceiling. I'd saunter over and try to steal as many CDs from the discount bins as I could. At night, when I wanted to escape, I'd lay in bed and listen to these records I'd taken, and I realized I'd been stealing tiny bits of gospel. The men on the album covers, they had dirt on their hands, but they dressed like kings, and can you blame a boy who had never owned much more than a CD player to fall for the gold and money they seemed to have? I'd keep this up day after day, skip school, hide out at home and listen to music. I'd find a pencil and some paper and try to recite the scripture, and soon I started adding my own. At night, men from the neighborhood would crowd into the dingy corner store and blast music until the cops broke it up. When I started shaving, I started pushing my way into the crowd inside and noticed who wore their guns in the back of their sagged jeans and who wore their guns right at their hips. They'd rock their heads to the beat, stare down their enemy, and bring the mic to their lips, and rip each other apart, and to me it felt like sermon. It felt like Sunday service. I was never religious. The cross was just a symbol I knew my mother wore, and others swore kept them going. But the idea of baptism, of watching the crowd bob and weave and duck and jump and scream and shout, that was not new. I learned what a church was, a movement of bodies and voices being thrown into the sky. I knew what it felt like to lose where I began and where the crowd stopped, and when I jumped, if it was even me at all. I grabbed the mic, fighting off the shaking in my hands. They always call it spittin', but it always felt like weaving, and the lights blinded my eyes. I stepped back, hands up, raised to surrender. I want no part in this, but I felt the hands at my back that pushed me back into the ring of fire. When you face a rock at your back and fire at your front, all you have left was what you have to offer. Those nights hiding from my mother, listening to bling spinning on the plastic like a promise of a new life, trapped in a neighborhood laundromat, going around and around, never stopping, never giving, just glinting and showing off, and then I felt my feet leave the floor, and my head return to earth. I felt the force of his fists on my chest, and I realized as the pain was choking up my breath, as the dirt was trying to swallow me up and make my skin and the earth one and the same, all I had left was the truth in my body, being beaten down but not out. I got up, limped back home, holding my blood pooling in my palm up to the orange streetlight and smiling. I held liquid fire in my hand. It shone bright, pumped straight from my heart to my brain, and it was mine, all mine, pure, 100% black truth.